Welcome back to another class of Transit on Natal Chart chapter. In this class, we are going to focus on Trine and Sextile that are considered to be supporting aspects. Like the boat is receiving a supporting wind to go to the same direction that we have planned since the conjunction, even the transit conjunction on a natal planet. And this is usually to guide us for a good direction, even that in a short term can take us to a challenging moment. But this is like even a little purge will usually behave like part of a plan feeling. The sextile, meaning 60 degrees distance. For example, Pluto sextile the Bitcoin moon, meaning that Pluto right now is 2 signs distance from the natal moon. Trine is 120 degrees distance, meaning that a planet is 4 signs difference from the planet we are measuring. And we know that a trine we are describing like a triangle and sextile like a star. Let's look together and search for supporting aspects in the chart of Bitcoin, and then we could see what was happening in the chart under this influence. So, if before we were in conjunction, now I want to take, for example, Neptune, 2 degrees, 2 signs difference, and I will take it to, here. If it's not, will be to the future. Neptune is a very slow moving planet, and we are needing to go 2 signs ahead. It's too far to predict right now, even that we can assume, because 2 signs from Pisces is already Taurus. So Neptune will be in Taurus. It wasn't a good example to start, only in 2039. But look how interesting that back then, until then, Mars and Pluto will be in conjunct in the sky and will interact with Venus, but not before. Pluto will be before this on Neptune. This is a very potent one, but is so far ahead to understand the use case, and also Saturn return. This is 30 years to the birth of Bitcoin. Neptune will do a sextile with Neptune, with Venus. After we saw what happened when Neptune was on Venus, how many percentages went up at the beginning, 5,000%, from a few dollars to some two digits, and then to 3 digits. Because there are more things that are coming into this time, this is not a good example, really. I will take Jupiter. Let's go to now. And Jupiter is now, as I'm recording this video, is around on the moon in 2022. Okay, Jupiter is on the moon. When Jupiter was on the moon in Aries, it was June 12th, 2022. Do you remember what happened in the market back then? Oh, wow, I do. I'm going to show you. Also, Pluto was almost conjuncting Jupiter. And we also see that in the 10th house, it was Venus, Mercury, and Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is falling in Taurus. And Jupiter in Aries, on the moon in Aries, seems like attack and revelation. But because Jupiter is ready to retrograde, it's just the first time it's touched the moon. see what happened in June 2021, 2022. Here what happened. Bitcoin fell to below the 20K. This is June. Exactly here. This candle that he fell to 17K was June 13. Exactly Jupiter on the moon. And it was eclipses time, and the moon was on the south node. Important point. The personal planets that I'm usually not speaking about them on the transits, but the planets of the chart are very significant because those are creating direct influence that we could see. So Jupiter on the moon, usually when I'm seeing it for people, is considered to be pregnancy. Usually. Even that the Jupiter will touch the moon every 12 years. So Bitcoin born very near to this time. No, when Bitcoin was 2 years, it touched it in the first time. And we know that it was very unstable. But Jupiter, just for finishing with this conjunction, that even that this class is for Trine, Jupiter started to retrograde and touch the moon for the second time in September. Exactly 5 degrees and 38 minutes. 5 degrees and 38 minutes. Exactly in September 11. What happened in September 11? Internet a bit slow. Okay, September 11 is around here. We are still in the low. Okay, maybe the internet will come back in a moment. We are still in the low around the 20K. This was September. It was another 3 candles that, here we go. It was 3 candles. September 11. We went up a bit to the 22K. This was another Jupiter on the moon, but retrograde. Interesting that on the same day, the moon was with Jupiter. September 11. We are going to search when it's going to touch for the third time. And this is January 2023. So we are still not there, but this is something to come here that seems to be positive. Now, what happened when Jupiter, this one that created what we just said, was doing a trine and when it was doing a sextile? And we're going to go sextile 2 signs back. We're going Pisces is 1 sign from Aries, and 2 signs from Aries is Aquarius. So when Jupiter was in Aquarius, Jupiter in Aquarius in 5 degrees, we need to find Jupiter doing 5 degrees. Here it was. Jupiter 5 degrees. It was together with Jupiter, with Saturn, together in around there, January 2021. On the same time that Jupiter was sextiling the moon, Chiron was on the moon and Neptune was on Uranus. So we don't have now the opportunity to separate the influence of Jupiter on sextiling the moon, because those are so important aspects on it. But for the curiosity, what happened in January 2021? Of course, we were in very high price of 40K that people wanted more after seeing so many percentage up. Things that we saw already in the history, only this was 300 percentage, and we saw that it's nothing to what happened in the past. right? So Jupiter supported the moon, but now it's received the Chiron that gave here compensation. If Chiron is going retrograde soon and then will come back on the moon, but not arriving to the moon place, it's direct in 8 degrees. So actually it's finished the retrograde and then Jupiter came on Venus, and what we saw January 2022, what started the peak down from here, started the peak down with Jupiter on Venus. So always like one transit is finishing, another one is beginning. Let's try to see Jupiter trining the moon. So we need to go 4 signs from Aries, moon in Aries, and we are going to Sagittarius. Okay. Also, the trine, they will be in the same element, fire and fire. So we are going to Jupiter in Sagittarius. Now, another way that we can look on the thing, we just can go to search, and we are going to search a position when Jupiter was in 5 degrees of 2 letters of such. Jupiter in 5 degrees in January 1st, 2019, doing a trine aspect with the moon. On the same time, Saturn is conjuncting the sun. And Mars ready to conjunct the moon. So this is a masculine energy here is pushing forward, and we want to see what happened in January 19. What happened? January 19. And this is the bottom that took us to 300% higher to 1,300 to 13,000 to 13K. So this is a supporting environment that we are seeing how Jupiter fertilizing the moon. And interestingly enough, that it came with different conjunctions that happen on the same time, and we can look on those important periods if it's supporting or not. In next classes, we're going to understand more features that I'm avoiding to speak right now, specifically the masculine, feminine, and more of elements to give you more assumption to evaluate those aspects. The same we could do with every planet. For example, Saturn conjuncting the Sun. Exactly here we see Saturn in 13 degrees and the Sun is in 13 degrees. We can go to see what happened in January 2019. We already know this is a bottom. And we also could go 2 signs back to, let's do search again. We're going to take Saturn in 13 degrees, Scorpio, just putting the number and the letter of the sign, and we can see in 13 degrees sextiling the sun in 2013, in October 27th, 2013. Let's go to this time, and 2013, it's a supporting aspect to the sun. So this is exactly the way that I wanted you to search this. But look, that when Saturn sextile, like a star, sextile the sun, 2 signs different, it also was Pluto ready to conjunct the sun. But this is a big one because Saturn is slow moving planet and was near the north node. We want to know what happened when it's sextile. The same we can go when it trined, but we are going to before time of Bitcoin birth, because Bitcoin born with Saturn in Virgo. And if I would like to go to, yeah, we actually will go very near to the time of birth and before. So it will give us power again to the use case of Bitcoin. And this is a positive aspect that fertilized the power of it. And we could do the measurement of sextile and trine with different planets to see how it impacted also in your own natal chart, how is impacted your life, what aspect was fertilized and what was challenged in the same time, um, and hopefully to predict different paradigms based on what was happening. In the next class, we're going to see the square and opposition that considered to be challenging aspects, and we may arrive to some extra conclusions. So see you in the next class. Observe.